They wanted to see a house on Monday, and we looked at it. We scheduled the showing for Tuesday. On Wednesday, they thought about it. Thursday, we wrote an offer. On Friday, the offer was accepted. And I said, we got you a home by Friday.
All right, welcome to the Minnesota Real Estate Agent Podcast. My name is April Lindenfelser with Keller Williams Classic Realty, and I run Selling Soda Homes. Today, our second guest on our new podcast is Mr. Joel Friday. Woo!
All right.
How you doing, Joel?
I'm doing great.
Thank you so much for being here with us today. First off, I just wanted to kind of ask you, why do you live in Minnesota?
Well, I was born here, raised originally in Fridley. Then we moved out to East Bethel. Was there until 1980, and then we moved to Coon Rapids. Went to Dunwoody, moved to California for 4 years, and then came back to raise my family here.
Nice. And you love living here? All is good?
Yep. Live on Crooked Lake, so just love lake life now, and just seeing what God's beauty is each morning. And every morning I chose to just walk down to the lake regardless of the weather. So I walk down there, shorts and a t-shirt, if it's 20 below or if it's 95. So.
You're a true Minnesotan at heart. It's amazing. Okay, down to business.
All right.
So how did you end up in the greatest industry in the world, real estate?
My company said, it's time for you to go get your real estate license. And they brought me back for a little bit. And then 4 years later, they said, why don't you go into real estate full time? Of course, that's not exactly what happened. I got laid off in 2005 from Sun Microsystems, and got my real estate license during that period. They brought me back for 4 years, kind of funded my empire. And then 4 years later, they laid me off again, right as Oracle bought out the company. And I just never looked back.
Why Keller Williams first? And secondly, why specifically KWCR? We're here in Coon Rapids and Blaine.
In 2010, my business started taking off. The broker I was with was a smaller broker. They didn't believe in having a website or IDX feed on it or anything that I wanted. So I started looking at different brokerages, and a friend of mine in the mortgage industry had told me about an opportunity here at Keller Williams Classic Realty. They were looking for a tech agent. And so I interviewed here. I interviewed with Minnesota Home Ventures, and I interviewed with KW up in Elk River as well. At the end of the day, I looked at the models of Keller Williams, the training and everything that they had, and that was why I chose it. The other option was more of a pay-per-side version. They do the capping model here. The paper side is great if you're not going to grow your business, but eventually it doesn't scale out as well as the capping model does. So,
okay, that makes sense. And then anything specific about this particular Keller Williams location? Or I guess you've always been at this location since you transferred?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. I chose this one over Elk River mostly for locale. I've lived in Coon Rapids since 1988. So being here on 10 and Hanson makes it nice and easy. When we moved onto the lake in 2015, my commute is get on at Main Street, get off at Hanson. And so pretty easy commute.
Easy breezy.
Yep.
Nice. That's great. So you kind of mentioned a little bit about when you were starting, you just came in every single day. And that's a lot of, you're really right in that a lot of agents just don't treat this job as a business, and they are here and there. Maybe they'll work a couple of hours one day and not the next. But I really like that you shared that this is a full-time job. If you want to make full-time money, you're doing this every single day, 40 hours a week. Maybe not necessarily all the time, but what in the beginning, how were you successful? Like, do you remember your first closing, and how did you like keep in contact with people and get your business off and running when you first started?
Well, I was working full time when I first started, so it was a little bit tougher. I don't remember the exact first closing I had, but I knew right away that I needed to get everybody's address and email, and so I started collecting that information, and we started sending out the scenic calendars probably in '07, '08, something like that. And that was fine. Everybody started to do that. But, you walk into church and you start to talk to people and you say, "Hey, I'm a realtor." But what really turned that around was I had a client call me. They wanted to see a house on Monday, and we looked at it. We scheduled the showing for Tuesday. On Wednesday, they thought about it. And Thursday, we wrote an offer. And then on Friday, the offer was accepted, and I said, "We got you a home by Friday." And so the home by Friday, sold by Friday slogan came from that.
His
And
last name's Friday, everybody. If you didn't catch that at the beginning, Joel Friday, and his shirt sold
yeah.
by Friday.
Anyway, yeah. So then I started putting that on my marketing material, and instead of having to say, "Hey, I'm a realtor," which is a boring subject to most people, people would come up to me and say, "Hey, Joel, how's the market?" And everything took off from there. Another thing that helped us a lot was in '06 to 2012, we were in the where the market was very depressed. A lot of agents were getting out of the business because their livelihood was dependent on the income that they once had, which had disappeared very quickly. Where I had the backing of, a full time job. And then once that went away, I just decided, okay, let's go all in on this and go from there. Um, one of the people at our church decided he wanted to help out with the church. So his thought was, I want to make some money flipping homes, which was easy to find homes to flip. Um, then he would use me as his agent because I had just lost my job. He wanted to help me out, but there was other contractors at the church that he employed as part of the process. And together we flipped about 5 or 6 homes. My home inspector also got into that, and we probably did 20 homes that, we bought and sold. Um, we did some of the NSP homes because he was also on the board of a charitable organization. So he was getting the homes for $1 from through county funding through the NSP program, and then we had to sell them to people that made less than 50% of the area median income, which made it really tough to find buyers because you need about 49% of the area median income to buy a home. So that was a
Sure.
very tight market. We showed one home 137 times before we found somebody that qualified to buy it. Everybody wanted it, but nobody qualified in that income range. So,
Oh, Toledo.
yeah. And then, you just provide good service to those people and they come back.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's all about. And people like how you treated them, and they tell their friends to call you up when they need to buy or sell. So,
Exactly.
how did you get to where you are today? I know you run a nice team. I believe your wife and your son are in your business. How does that all work, and how did you get to this level of, the Keller Williams models? First you get an assistant, then you like. How did that look for you in your journey?
Yeah. So it kind of started out in 2010 as my business started to grow. I was getting busier than I could deal with everything myself. And my wife was working a part time job just to help swing things. And I just looked at her and said, "Why don't you get licensed? You can show homes for me and things like that. And you'll make more money than what you would doing the part time job." So we started with that. And then my daughter, Jenny, got her license shortly after graduating high school and worked that part part-time while she went to college for American Sign Language. She also got licensed in South Dakota when she was out there. Um, she's Since she's gotten her degree, she's learned that social media marketing is her thing. So that's kind of who we use for all our social media marketing. She's still a licensed agent. She just chooses to let us do the agent work, so to speak. And then my son worked at Walmart from high school up, and he got 20 years in at Walmart. And he just said to me one day, he says, "I want to join you, Dad." And I'm like, okay. And then we he got his license and retired from Walmart at the ripe old age of 40. So he's been on our team for a while. We've had a number of people come through the team over the years. People come and go for various reasons. Some we help grow into their own business. Others, choose a different path. We hope to give everybody a way to learn the business, see what I'm doing, and go from there.
Nice. That's that's great. You're a really strong mentor, and people learn a lot from you every single day. So it's great. Um, what do you think is driving your business right now? Like, what are you seeing? What's the market like? How are you making, or how are you helping your buyers and sellers win? Like, what do you feel like? What's going on? How are you guys doing?
For the most part, we come in with a patient approach. We may not get every home that's out there, but we're looking at each deal and trying to figure out how to shape that purchase agreement to fit the needs of the seller and make it a win-win situation.
Do you focus mostly on listings, or do you have a lot of buyers too? What's your main source of business?
We've always been about 50-50.
50/50.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I try and get the listings, and then buyers generate from there. So,
And then in a typical day or week, what do you specifically do that you feel like other agents might not be doing? Is there any like secret to your sauce?
it goes back to, again, what I said earlier. I think the secret to the sauce is showing up, you
Yeah.
know, being at the office, hearing what's going on. One day I was at the office, somebody said, "Hey, I've got this listing coming up." So I walked over to their office instead of sending them an email and started talking. And then as I was talking, that deal didn't fit my client's need. But another agent walked by and said, "Hey, what's going on?" And she said, "Well, I've got a lake home coming up in Roseville, and I happen to have a client that was having a lake home, one need for a lake home in Roseville. So I got to show it before it hit the market, and we got them the property on the lake that they just love." So, and that's from being here, not from being virtual or whatever the latest fad is. In my mind, it's talking to people every day is where your bang for the buck comes in.
Yeah, I think the internal networking is huge at our office. And, we have a morning huddle call every single day at 8:15, and there's a group of agents that gets on there. And it happens like more often than not that, or even in our team meetings where agents are saying, "Here's my listing that's coming up in a couple of weeks." Like, you can show it early as long as it's not incoming soon. And that happens a lot where people internally network and get their clients like really great deals or less of headaches if they don't want to deal with showings and all of that before it hits the market. So that internal networking is
Yeah.
huge. And you do have, and as real estate agents, we do have the option of working from home or getting an office here at our, brick and mortar, either here in Coon Rapids or Blaine. But you choose to have an office here specifically so that you get more interaction with other agents and are more dedicated to your business. And that is,
Yeah, that kind of came about. I started off with a home office and had an office here, and then went to a family reunion, and Gary Keller read The One Thing to us. And I realized in the one thing that I was doing wrong was having two offices. I would be at the office, and I would have a note at home that I needed. I'd be at home and I'd have a note from the office that I needed. The cloud-based stuff makes that a lot easier now, but I tend not to do a lot of that. I always, if I'm working, I set aside this environment. I can be in a private office somebody comes by, that's okay, but I can actually focus on my work, and get things done. I am like 100 times more efficient here at the office than I am just sitting at home. Because people at home want attention, while you're there, and that just makes it tougher.
Yeah, that's a super smart point. It's like if you're here, you can't switch your laundry or you can't think about what you're gonna cook for dinner. So yeah, that's a really, really smart point. I should take your advice on that.
Oh,
Uh, okay, so let's see. Systems or processes that are helping you most in your business today? Anything specific that you can think of that might be unique? Or I know you said and I know this is huge for you, like every year everybody looks forward to getting, like, you have a really, really nice calendar that you send out at the end of the year, beginning of the year, probably December or something, I'm
yeah,
guessing.
they go out in November of each year, and then we also send out the Vikings magnets right in the August time frame. So those are two big mailings that we do every year. We also, try and do a client event in the fall. We just did the electronics recycling event with, the office here. Things like that help a lot in just people remembering who you are, what you're doing. So that's important to us. I'm always looking for ways to simplify my tech as well. So sometimes I chase the shiny objects like we all do, but I think I've found a couple that are working well for me right now. So I'm just focusing on those, getting those ready to go and rolled out to my clients.
Nice. Um, Anything that you are working on, like goals for this year, like by the end of the year, specific goals that you might have within the next 12 months?
I mean, we always shoot for 75 to 100 homes
Oh,
sold a
nice.
year. So that's kind of our standard. We've been a little bit below that the last few years, so we're gonna work to get that up again. The other thing we've got going right now is Friday's Farm, which is where I grew up in East Bethel. My dad passed away back in January, um, and he had 45 acres in East Bethel and Ham Lake. So we're working with the developer to get that out there. So I've got 8 lots in East Bethel coming up. The developer allowed me to be the agent on selling the lots as well. So not only are we able to cash out, the land that my dad had, but I'm also able to generate some business that way. Getting,
That's nice.
yeah. So other things we've got going, just working on our new mobile app and our relationship with homes.com.
Oh, you have a mobile app?
Yes. Yeah, I just got that a little bit ago. So we're trying to get as many clients signed up on that as possible. It's similar to Zillow or whatever, but it's branded to us, and it's only ours. So it's a little neat piece of tech that we've been working on, and it's been fairly successful so far. We can do push notifications out to their cell phones. They can set up searches. They can share properties with us. So that's really cool as well.
Oh, geez, I haven't heard about that. That's cool. That's amazing. Um, what is one thing that cost you time, money, or deals, and what did you learn?
Um, just my personality is such that I'm not out there, you know, calling people and following up with them enough. So I should probably follow up more than I do. I don't like to bother people, so it's just that hesitancy. Do you call them once a month? Do you say, hey, where are you at? So, the follow up is kind of one I've seen recently where had I followed up, I might have had a few more deals already this year. So
Yep.
everybody's downfall, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and it does. It's one of those tough things. It's like you feel like you're bothering them, but then you see their house listed and you're like, "Oh, maybe I should have called them." But it's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. 5 years. Where are you at?
5 years. I'm hoping to eventually transition the business over to my son. So I'm getting up there, close to retirement age, so we'll see what happens. The nice part about this business is I can keep working it. It's not a physically taxing job. It's just, I just have to, I'll probably fall back into the business, building the business and let others do the showings and the listings and things like that.
That makes sense. Yeah, you can kind of pick and choose what you want to do and kind of hand off the rest of it to. I just talked to another agent that they were reading the Golden Handoff. There's a book.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was actually a book, but that's kind of cool. Anything else specific you want people to know about you or your business?
We've developed a website so you can go out there and kind of do some specific searches. So if you wanted to find a Coon Rapids home, you can go in there and it's already set up. The search is set up for you. And in that, you can see all the latest open houses. You can also see the current market trends for that specific city compared to the county and the metro area. I keep those stats live updated on the website. We also have lake areas for a few counties in the area. And also I did like lakes up I-35, lakes Brainerd, those types of things. So if you're looking for lake properties, I always like showing those because I live on a lake, love the lake living. So
Yeah, and every lake's different. They've got different bottoms and different fish, and all that stuff is important when you're trying to find a lake home. People that move here from out of state, they're like, "No, I want a lake," and then you're like, "Well, you don't want to live on that one."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody has a different reason for being on the lake. It's interesting. For me, it's seeing the beauty of it all, getting out there on the pontoon. I don't fish much, but I enjoy walking out there and seeing the fish underneath me in the dock. I actually got a picture of a northern. And that picture, if you look at it close, looks like he's swimming on the mountainside because there's green on the bottom. And then there was some clouds reflecting in there as well. So,
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
but other people, we see it all on our lake. They're out there water skiing, jet skiing. There's just a ton of different activities you can do on a lake. So each person has that different mindset of what they want to do on a lake. So different lakes will have different importance to different people.
For sure. Some people just want to be able to have their kids play hockey, and it can be a pond. It doesn't have to be a fishable.
Yep. There's one couple out there that actually creates a skating rink. They got a small Zamboni and they just leave it open for anybody to use on the lake. So
that's cool. And your lake has an ice carousel.
They do that every year as well. Yep. It's a one-day event. Everybody sees it. And a week later, they're like, can I go to the ice carousel? No, it's a one-day event. So
yeah.
They literally cut a 100-foot diameter hole in the ice. Not really a hole, and then the ice floats still. And then they rotate it with a trolling motor or something.
Yeah, like two motors. They put them underneath. We went and visited this past winter, and the kids had a ride. Like, it was very fun. I have never seen that before.
Yeah.
You just stand on this giant piece of ice and you're just swirling around like, woo, it sounds really weird, but you got to be there to understand how to do it.
Well, but it's something you can't do in Florida.
Yeah. And the mathematics behind it, like the gentleman that puts it together, he's got this whole sheet of like, this is how many tons of ice are underneath you right now and the trajectory and like over my head. But
yep. He was an engineer and he kind of figured out how to do it. And, it's a complex process using chainsaws, which does not sound like an engineering feat, but chainsaws and ice are a way to get it cut. So
yeah, that's cool. Okay, really important question.
Okay.
What's the best restaurant in Minnesota?
Right now, I would say Jelly Beans and Julia's.
Ooh, I love it.
Yeah.
That's right down the street from where I live.
Yep, that place is phenomenal. Best barbecue around.
What do we order when we go there?
If you go there with a group, they've got a family platter that's phenomenal. It's like $100 and it feeds like 6 people, so that's my go-to there. But I always get the brisket because that is phenomenal there. So
have you had the mac and cheese?
I'm not a mac and cheese guy. I've never liked mac and cheese.
Best mac and cheese in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Jelly bean and Julia's.
Yeah.
You rock. Okay. This is great. Thank you so much for giving us an insight. Where can people connect with you if they want to reach out and learn more about you, your business, anything, or have you help them in their real estate?
The easiest way is to download the app. Look on your phone for the Sold by Friday app. You can also go
It's
to
just on like Google Play, Apple,
Yep.
whatever.
Yep, we're out there. Or soldbyfriday.com, or you can give me a call, 612-868-6287. Love to talk to you and get your home sold by Friday.
Thanks. Go sell some soda.
All right.